What's up, guys? Welcome to Touchdown Talk, where everything and anything football goes. I'm your host, Jason, and we're going to be breaking down our Monday Night Football games, as well as looking forward to our divisional rival Thursday Night Football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. Let's first get started with the Titans and Bills, and this game wasn't close. If you watched the game at all, if you even saw the score, 41-7, this game had no chance of being close. Right after the first quarter, it was over from there. Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs are on an entire another level. There is no quarterback wide receiver duo that is on their level. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are not on their level. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, not on their level. No matter what, Derek Carr, Monte Adams, not on their level. No matter what quarterback receiver duo you throw at me, I'm taking Diggs and Allen over all of them. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league right now. Some may say Mahomes. That's your opinion. I'm taking Allen over Mahomes right now just because of the mobility on his feet, what he can do on the ground. He can run better than Patrick Mahomes can. He lays his body out on the line every play. We saw him hurdle a guy. He fell awkwardly. It doesn't matter. Josh Allen gets right back up and does whatever he needs to do to win the game and get the dub for his team. We saw it in week 1 where he just bulldozed the team. He bulldozed the Rams. He fought for the touchdown. He jumped over one, did the Michael Jordan dunk on the Ram defender. No matter what you ask Josh Allen to do, he's going to do that and more. That's why I'm taking him over Mahomes. And Stefon Diggs, he's a top receiver in the league right now. As of right now, he might just be the best receiver in the league. If not, he's definitely one of the top 3. He's up there with Adams, Jefferson, and then Diggs. So no matter what order you put those 3 in, I'm taking Diggs over Kupp and Tyreek Hill right now. I think Diggs is on a complete tangent this year. Him and Allen are something special to watch. The rest of their offense played well. They didn't have Gabe Davis, and they still scored 41 points. It doesn't matter what you throw at them. It looks like they are unstoppable right now. Even though we're only 2 weeks in, Bills 2-0, Bills undefeated, outscoring their opponents 72-17. That is an incredible stat right now, 72-17. But next week they got the Miami Dolphins coming up in Miami. This is going to be a good game to look forward to, but we'll get more into that on Friday. But for the Titans offense, Derrick Henry is it. If you take out Derrick Henry like the Bills did, we saw what the Titans were able to do. Nothing. Derrick Henry went down there on the first drive, scored a touchdown, and that was the last we saw the Tennessee Titans do anything in this game. No matter what they tried doing, the Bills were able to stop it. That defense from Buffalo is elite right now. They were disrespected last year, not one single Pro Bowler. Jordan Poyer was an all-team last year, but not a Pro Bowler. That makes no sense. But they have something to prove this year with that defense. The offense looks unstoppable. Tennessee couldn't get anything going. And when you're playing the Tennessee Titans, all you need to do at this point is stop Derrick Henry. They don't have that number 1 wide receiver outside anymore like they did with A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks isn't that guy. He's not an outside guy. He's not a true number 1 yet. He's only 2 games into his NFL career. Now, yes, he's doing good for the Titans and what they need him to do, but they're lacking that number 1 guy who can go outside, who can run that go, who can hop over a defender, who can make that Moss catch, who can make the plays he needs to. Right now, the Titans don't have that. You stop Derrick Henry, the game is over. That's what the Bills did. That's why they won. But all in all, we got to see Malik Willis for a little bit in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Kind of garbage time. He wasn't really able to do much. The Bills benched their starters midway through the 3rd. So not an entire fully game where we were able to see the Buffalo Bills. But 41 points in 2.5 quarters is definitely phenomenal when you look at it that way. But next up is the Vikings and the Eagles. Now in the first half of this game, Jalen Hurts went 17 of 20 for 301 total yards and 3 touchdowns, while the Vikings only had 93 yards and a touchdown. So Jalen Hurts by himself had over 100 more yards than the Vikings' entire offense and 2 more touchdowns than the Vikings' offense. He started the game 11 for 11 before throwing an incomplete pass up to Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert caught it, but then the defender came in and just hit his stomach. The ball came out. That was Jalen Hurts' first incompletion. They were playing phenomenal in this game. And it looks like Minnesota can't win in Philadelphia. The last time the Vikings came to Philadelphia and played the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field, the Eagles crushed them in the NFC Championship back in 2018 when they won the Super Bowl. Now Minnesota comes back to Philly, and when you look at what they were able to do, when they go to Philly, it's nothing. They went to Philly, Kirk Cousins struggled, Darius Slay locked down Justin Jefferson. Jefferson had 1 catch for 7 yards on Slay. Slay had 2 interceptions, could have easily had 4 or 5. He dropped 2 easy ones, and then there were another 2 that he could have had. So when you look at the way Justin Jefferson played, he only had, I think, 54 total yards, I believe. Only 7 on Darius Slay. Slay got the better of him. Him and Kirk were not on the same page. Kirk Cousins threw 2 interceptions in the end zone when targeting Justin Jefferson, both picked off by Darius Slay. The first one, it looked like Justin Jefferson was told to run a kind of a crossing route, and as he crossed, Darius Slay cut off right underneath, and Jefferson just leaned off the route. I don't know if maybe he didn't want to collide with Darius Slay for contact reasons. Maybe he didn't want to collide with Darius Slay and get an offensive pass interference. But it ended up being an interception, and the Eagles were able to take over that possession. And then towards the end of the game, Kirk Cousins threw a jump ball to Justin Jefferson. Darius Slay caught it, picked it off yet again in the end zone for a touchback. And the most interesting thing on that play was Darius Slay was injured. So when you're looking towards next week, look at the Eagles injury report and see how Darius Slay is doing. Should be fine, though, considering he came right back in. He wouldn't let the team take him out. They were throwing a cornerback in for him. He kind of just told them to get off the field, and then he intercepts the ball. So Darius Slay, probably the adrenaline, probably will be looked at during practice this week. Maybe he doesn't practice. Maybe he's a full participant in practice. Maybe he only practices for a little bit. That's something to keep an eye on if you're an Eagle fan, especially with the Eagles traveling to Washington to take on their former quarterback in Carson Wentz. Now, for the rest of the team, aside from Jalen Hurts playing phenomenal, he was able to spread the ball around as well as run the ball as well. And when you look at the run game, it was kind of a quiet night for Miles Sanders. He had 80 yards, but it wasn't like a game where he broke out a 50-yard run. It was kind of a quiet 80-yard game for Miles Sanders. As I mentioned, Jalen Hurts was able to pass the ball and spread the ball around evenly, getting A.J. Brown 69 yards. Smitty had over 60 yards. Quez Watkins had 69 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert led the team with 82 yards. So he was able to spread the ball around perfectly. He was able to play good. Eagles got the win. Avonte Maddox got an interception as well with Darius Slay. And the defense was able to finally get pressure. After last week, when you talk about the Eagles, even I talked about their defense, and I thought it was a little shaky with the Lions, especially with letting the Lions inch back into that game, letting the Lions score 35 points. But it does look like the Lions have a good offense this year. They're coming off of a win against the Commanders, and it looks like they have a chance of making the playoffs, especially with the NFC. There aren't a ton of great teams in the NFC. I think the Bucs, Rams, Eagles, and Packers are amongst the top 4. But then you got like the Vikings, who are right up there. I guess the 49ers you could put in that conversation. But in that conversation, I'm going to throw Detroit in too. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit makes the playoffs this year. I said they were kind of an underrated team going into the year. I love the addition of DJ Chark. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. DeAndre Swift is a beast out of the backfield. So they have a chance. But when you look at what the Eagles did last week against the Lions, it was a little shaky. And this week they come in, they blitzed more. TJ Edwards showed up and was able to play great defense and eliminate Dalvin Cook. All in all around a team win for the Eagles over the Vikings. Eagles and Bills both 2-0 heading into week 3. Now let's talk about our Thursday night game, our rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Now when you look at these two teams, you don't know who's better because both of these teams are a little shaky right now. Cleveland just came off of a loss to the Jets where they blew a 13-point lead in the last 2 minutes. And then for the Steelers, you're coming off a game where you lose to the Patriots in a game you should have won. and your entire stadium is chanting Kenny Pickett. So when you get the chance for Kenny Pickett, that affects Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky said he kind of just shuts it out and blocks it off, which as a quarterback you have to do, but not entirely. You're going to hear it. When you're at the game and you're on the field and you're hearing them chant for your backup quarterback, that's in your head. You can't tune that out 100%. Obviously, that's going to affect Trubisky. I expect Kenny Pickett to be in no later than week 6 right now. I think the way Trubisky's playing, it's not up to what the Steelers are going to be able to do. They've had Ben Roethlisberger for the past 18 years. So when you're trying to transition to another quarterback and he's not working out as of right now, make the move to your rookie. You drafted him for a reason. He's your future. But then again, you don't want to put him in, and if he has a bad game, pull him, because that's just going to tear apart the team. We kind of saw that with Tua and Fitzpatrick a couple of years ago in Miami. So at this point, you got to make up your mind. Once you take Trubisky out, though, it's done. If you take Trubisky out with a non-injury related reason, if Trubisky continues to struggle and you pull him out and you put Kenny Pickett in that game, it's Kenny's team. Just like the Niners did with Trey Lance before. Sadly, he got hurt and will miss the entire season. Once you throw in Kenny Pickett for that team, he's your guy. And there's no more Trubisky. He'll be sitting on the bench and he'll be gone next year. But that's what the Steelers have to talk about. That's something they have to make up their mind about. But in this game, I think this is the time, if any, where Mitch Trubisky puts his career on the line for the Steelers. This is a divisional game. You know it means a lot. You guys are both tied for first in the division right now, 1-1, along with the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati's 0-2, obviously. But when you look at these two teams, the winner of this game is going to be in first place of the division up until next week, when we don't know what they're going to be doing next week. But for now, whoever wins this game for the foreseeable future, for the next week or so, they're going to be in first place. Now, Sunday, if the Ravens win, they'll be tied for first. But for the next week or so, the winner of this game will be in first place. And that is huge when you look at what is on the line. But what I'm looking for in this game are two players, and two players in particular. Najee Harris and Nick Chubb. These are both top running backs in the league. I think Chubb, as I said multiple times, Chubb is the best running back in the league. And I will stand by it through and through. I will ride with Nick Chubb forever. He's the best running back in the league right now. He will be this season. He is on a tangent right now. Whatever you want to say about last week, yeah, he could have went down and they won, but you score and you put your team up 2 touchdowns, your team should not give up 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes. There is no way in Nick Chubb's head as he's scoring saying, oh, my team's going to give up 2 touchdowns, I probably should have went down. Now, yeah, after the fact, when you lose, you could have said he went down. Kareem Hunt could say the same thing. Kareem Hunt, he should have came out and said, I should have went down. He didn't. He went out of bounds. Stopped the clock. Nick Chubb came out and said he should have went down. He scored a touchdown, though. So that's a tricky situation when you're talking about it. Either way you look at it, the Browns shouldn't have let up 14 points in the last 2 minutes. They shouldn't have let up an onside kick. You can't blame Nick Chubb entirely for that. That's on the coaching staff. He needs to be more specific with what he wants. He came out and said that, so props to Kevin Stefanski. But when you look at it, your defense cannot allow 2 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. That cannot happen. If you're the Browns defense, they did call an only players meeting. I did hear that news on the Pat McAfee show today. I'll link his show in the description for you guys to go watch his. But I heard it on his show that the Browns called it a players only meeting. So when you think about that, good for the Browns. I think they need it. Not only did they struggle and lose last week, but it does give me a bit of a concern with the Browns that only 2 weeks in, there's a players only meeting. That's something you see maybe midway through the year, late in the year when you're struggling, you're trying to make the playoffs, in those type of situations. But 2 weeks in, ahead of a week 3 matchup against your divisional rival, one of your biggest rivals, I think that for the Browns calling this meeting, you get it over with now, and that way you could fix the mistakes now, early in the year. You don't have to let everything simmer over the next few weeks. Fix it and get it done. So in this game, Jacoby Brissett needs to make the throws to Amari Cooper, to Donovan Peoples-Jones. They're going to be a big role. But Nick Chubb is going to be the biggest role, especially with the Steelers not having TJ Watt. That's going to be the biggest thing. Can the Steelers make up for TJ Watt? They didn't last week. Now, Highsmith on the opposite side, he was getting very little attention with Watt in there, but now more teams are going to start looking at him as a top edge rusher because he's their number one guy right now. Now, they do have Cam Hayward in the middle, but you can double him as well. So when you look at the Steelers defense, they got to find a way to make up for TJ Watt. For the Browns offense, you got to get Nick Chubb going early, got to get Nick Chubb going often, and if he can start going, the Browns will be in for a good offense and a good game. Same thing for the Steelers. If you get Najee Harris going early, it'll boost his confidence, especially last week, being injured, having a slow game. You got to get him going early. You got to get him going fast, quick. Let him get going early. Let him score. Let him do what he needs to do early in the game. That way, when the Browns start targeting the run more, that's when Trubisky could let his arm fly. Let's hit your Claypool, your Deontay Johnson, your Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens. You got 4 guys that you can hit. But establish the run early and often. That way, once the Browns load that box up, you got 4 guys to choose from. That's the game plan for the Steelers. That's how I think they should work it. That's how I think they should win this game. For the Browns, I think they should win by using Nick Chubb, having the Steelers force the box, and then letting your pass go. Kind of the same for both teams. But for the Steelers, once you start throwing the ball, you can work Najee Harris in more. For the Browns, I think you got to stay consistent with Nick Chubb in the ground game. Run him the entire game. Let Kareem Hunt come in on your third down. Pass the ball to him when you need to. And use both of them in at the same time. We've seen Cleveland do that in the first 2 weeks, and I think that's key for them to continue doing. I think when you look at their offense, I think one of the most important things for their offense is having Hunt and Chubb in at the same time. Because you can fake the handoff to Chubb, and then everyone's going to come up for Chubb, and then you can just leak out Kareem Hunt for the pass. So in this game, I think it comes down to Najee Harris and Mitch Trubisky's arm against Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Jacoby Brissett's decision-making. I think coaching-wise, Mike Tomlin will always have a good game plan. But for now, in this game, I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have good games. I think the Browns have a good game. But I think the Steelers are just going to be able to edge them out with the offensive weapons they have. I think the Browns are in a little bit of a struggle right now. I think it takes them another week or 2 to get right. But I think the Steelers figure it out this week. I think they figure it out in this game. And I think the Steelers get the victory over the Cleveland Browns to lead off this week, tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. And without further ado, that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed my video, drop a like. If you enjoy my other content, you enjoy my other videos, I will see you guys next time.